The first thing, Kirk, is if you're not familiar with the story of how I ended up going to Shopko Optical, I'm sitting here doing the Star Morning Show, and I hear a commercial for Shopko Optical. And I hadn't been in for an eye exam, and you know this, wearing glasses. There comes a point where you start thinking to yourself, okay, I really need to go get my eyes checked out.
Yep, and unfortunately, a lot of people don't heed that warning there, especially as a lot of doctor visits have been put off because of COVID and things like that. We found that a lot of patients, unfortunately, are putting off routine eye exams and coming in to get glasses and contacts. But definitely what we're seeing with people working from home and working with computers more than ever before, it is critical that they come in for an annual exam, and if they do need to get that prescription updated, to make sure they get that done.
Well, funny enough, as I sit here, I have 3 computer screens in front of me, and I knew that something was going on. And the ease of the appointment, and just to give some background on Kirk Lauterback, who's with us, an optician in July 1993 at Shopko, which is fantastic. And right now, you're the COO since June of 2019. So basically, you've been part of all aspects of Shopko Optical, and you wear glasses yourself. Now, we can compare notes in a second, but what I found amazing is I was able to, as I was on the air doing my morning show, I went to shopko.com and I made the appointment in probably about 40 seconds because it is that easy to do on the website. And I think that's the first awesome thing about Shopko is the ease of being able to make the appointment and find the right location for you.
Yeah, we like to make that an easy process for our patients. Our Shopko.com website is a one-stop shop for everyone to be able to see some of the examples of the great brands we carry, brands like Ray-Ban, Coach, Oakley, Maui Jim. Help you select lenses. We carry Zeiss lenses for the eyewear, and you can find out more about the different options you have available there, the different type of contact lenses we have. You can schedule an appointment. You'll also be able to find out about our satisfaction guarantee. And we also talk about the insurance. We do accept most major insurances, and we're also an open access provider for VSP, so you can find out all about that on our website.
And then being able to pick the products out, look at the different frames that you had. We did a giveaway here on Star for some Ray-Ban glasses, and I swear I want those things, but you guys have all of the latest and greatest, too, at Shopko.com.
Well, they have some excellent styles, and we recently added Maui Jim, which is also an excellent sunglass line. They have a sunglass line in addition to their regular frame line as well. So we have some really, really exciting styles. We refresh the styles on a regular basis. We have a wonderful team here in our corporate office that ensures that we have the latest and greatest. They meet with the manufacturers on a regular basis so that we can provide our patients with the newest styles and the newest technology. So it's a great experience they're going to have when they come into our local centers.
So aside from making the appointment and looking ahead and seeing what kind of frames you guys have and what kind of deals you have going on through Shopko.com, I was blown away. Now, I said I was going to compare. I've been wearing glasses since I was about 4 or 5 years old, Kirk. So I've been calling myself an aficionado when it comes to finding the right place to get my eyes checked. And I'm really happy that I found Shopko because I got my exam done by Dr. Erba, who is in Crystal Lake. Dr. Freetag is there. And then, of course, you guys have your Huntley and Elgin locations. The quality of care that you get at Shopko, and you actually worked at one of the Shopkos starting in the early 90s. I was just blown away by that, as well as a very comprehensive eye exam. And I think people don't realize how much they could find out about their health just through their eyes as well.
Yeah, it's definitely the line, the eyes are the windows of the soul. There's actually some truth to that.
Yeah.
You can actually really see just the overall health of things like if you have diabetes or if you have other underlying conditions, they can be identified through that exam. So it is just very, very critical. And I got to tell you, I'm so excited to have the opportunity to get back into Illinois with our locations. I grew up in Hoffman Estates, so I've been all over the country with Shopko Optical, and it was so cool once we made the announcement to have stores in the Crystal Lake, Huntley, and Elgin areas. know them all very well, and we're very, very excited to be part of those communities.
Well, and I'm always comparing. I said I've been wearing glasses for almost 40 years now, and I get amazed still by the frames that I ended up getting are titanium, and if I have them on when I fall asleep, if I roll over, I can't even crush them if I wanted to. When they were showing me at the Shopko here in Crystal Lake, they were bending and pushing on the frames, and I was like, no, don't do that. And they're like, it's okay. They're not going to break. Don't worry about it. And that part of it is just awesome too, how you're able to try everything on. And of course, I got contacts while I was at it as well. I tend to wear those when I'm more active. And we're talking to Kirk Lauterback. He is the COO of Shopko Optical. Kirk, talk a little bit about, I love these programs that you guys have with the local Lions Club to help out kids.
Yeah, so basically we have had for 22 years, we've had various programs that have helped children in need. And for the last 7 years, we partnered directly with the Lions Club. And this past year, we've actually rebranded the program into Kids in Focus. And the concept of the program is to really help ensure that, again, we're helping kids in need, kids that need some help by getting an exam and getting glasses. It's a very, very straightforward and simple program. We partner with the local Lions Club in Elgin, Crystal Lake, and Huntley. And from there, if you know a child that is in need, contact the local Lions Club, and they can coordinate getting a voucher that you can bring into the center for a complimentary exam and a complimentary pair of glasses. They can call the center to schedule the appointment, or they can book it online at shopko.com. It's really a great program because what we see with kids is that, you have 1 in 4 kids that has an undetected vision issue. You also have kids that, they need a little help, and if you look at it from this vantage point, 80% of the learning that a child is going to do in their development is going to come through their eyes.
Right.
So if they do need a pair of glasses, or if there is something that's a more significant concern, it really starts with having that exam and identifying it so we can come up with a treatment plan that will work for that child. But it is so critical. We see children these days that are working on computers and tablets more than ever before, and there's different challenges that come from using those computers more frequently. So it's just important to actually have them come in for an exam.
So if you want to reach out, if there's someone you know, or if it's a neighbor and you know that their child needs glasses, the Lions Club here in our area, you can reach out or go to shopko.com. You can find the locations across the area. And while we're at it, we're talking to Kirk Lauterback, the COO of Shopko Optical. Let's talk about kids because, I was worried at one point, since my eyes aren't the greatest, okay, is that something that my kids are going to have to deal with at some point? What are some of the signs that maybe there's a pair of glasses needed, not only for kids but adults? Let's start with kids. What's a telltale sign that your child might need to go into Shopko and get their eyes checked?
Well, some of the more obvious scenarios are when they're very close to a screen, whether it's a computer or a TV. If they're watching very close, that can be a very obvious sign.
Right.
But there are also more subtle signs. If they're complaining of strains in their eyes, if they're complaining of headaches, dry eyes, different scenarios like that are things you want to make sure you have them come in to have the exam. There are also other scenarios. Sometimes you'll see things visually, like a lazy eye as an example. Those are scenarios, too, that can be treated with eyewear as well. So it's very important to just, talk to your children. How are they seeing? Are they taking the right steps to ensure that when they're outside, they're wearing protective eyewear? One thing that a lot of parents don't realize is that 90% of sports-related injuries that happen to the eye could have been prevented with the proper eye protection. We also see a lot of kids don't wear sunglasses, and a lot of parents also don't realize that 80% of all UV exposure is going to happen to that child when they're under 18 years of age.
Wow.
So if we have them properly wearing sunglasses now that have UV protection, that can help them later in life. So there's so many things you can do, even if the child doesn't need to have a correction in their eyewear, to wear sunglasses and proper protection when they're playing sports.
Gotcha. I love it. Well, you can go to shopko.com. It is so easy to make an appointment. That was my first impression when I went to the site. Like I said earlier in the podcast, I'm on the air. I hear the Shopko Optical commercial. I go, boom, finally, I made the appointment within seconds. And I would imagine that the same, you mentioned it earlier on in the podcast, Kirk, you said, people are working on their computers more as adults. And I know, trust me, I know people that will fight going to get their eyes checked because they don't want to wear glasses. And it's quick, it's painless, and maybe it's going to provide them with some better eyesight.
You mentioned it's really interesting, too. I mean, one of the other phenomena we're seeing a lot right now is because people are working from home, working on the computers, is you're seeing a lot more concerns with dry eyes. You're seeing a lot more concerns with blue light causing challenges. And one of the things that we always recommend if you are working on the computer is to practice the 20-20-20 rule, which basically is for every 20 minutes when you're staring at those computer screens, take 20 seconds to look at an object 20 feet away or more.
Oh.
It really refreshes the eyes, and it can prevent your eyes from getting a lot of the computer strain that a lot of people suffer from. Because when you do look at that monitor, you're not blinking as frequently, you're not refocusing the eye, and it can cause a lot of strain throughout the day for you if you don't take that 20-20-20 rule into consideration.
It's like you're talking directly to me, because that's the exact conversation I had with Dr. Herba over at Shopko and Crystal Lake, because I have the 3 screens in front of me. We're on the air from 5 to 10 every morning, and you don't realize you're focused on that screen, on that one position, and if you just take a second and back up and look away, it could actually be beneficial. I like that, the 20-20-20. I've never heard of that one before. Outstanding. So Kirk Lauterback with us, Shopko Optical. A lot of great information. If you want to make an appointment, you can do that. They can work with your insurance. They have some great brands there. And honestly, Kirk, I just love the family feel when I go in. I miss going to my eye doctor growing up as a kid down in Addison years ago, and I just get this feeling of family when I go into Shopko Optical, and I think you guys are doing the right thing, and we appreciate your time today to educate us and give us more info about some of the great programs that you're involved with here in Illinois, where you have your 3 locations.
Well, thank you for the opportunity, and thanks for coming in. And again, 3 great locations to help serve your patients and your listeners here in Elgin, Crystal Lake, and Huntley. So thanks again for the opportunity, Joe.